What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 109 of the Access to Combat podcast. I'm one half of your host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 108, Tatsuro versus Albazi. On the boxing side, we got some Duarte, we got a couple of bangers in Japan, and the PFL is also kicking off their World Tournament Finals. But before we get into any of that, my brother, please tell them what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Azamat Bekoev going one-on-one with the debuting Yousri Belgaroui. Bekoev, 20-3 overall. Fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 29 years old. Yousri is 8-3 overall. Fighting out of Connecticut, but repping the Netherlands, 33 years old. Not Bekoev's original opponent. He was previously scheduled to fight Torres Finney. That fight was a little interesting because it would have been a wrestler on wrestler. Now he's scheduled to fight a debuting kickboxer. A kickboxer who's got a decent amount of experience, has fought some, known names in the UFC. I'll just, Izzy, Poatan.
Light,
Something light. Now, he don't have a winning record against any one of those guys, but, I mean, he did fight him. This is a classic Muay Thai versus, daggy wrestler here. This is wrestler versus striker. Conventional wisdom always says lean the wrestler. I'm going to be leaning the wrestler here, even though I can see Yousri maybe with his dimensions giving him some trouble on the takedown, but I do think Bekoev eventually does find the takedown. Give me Bekoev here, ground and pound.
Yeah, this is definitely a striker versus grappler match. Bekoev's going to win the minutes against the cage. He's actually has pretty decent clinch work, and I think that might be the difference in the contest. Yousri hasn't really been pushing the wrestling, at least not to the knowledge or tape that I've seen, but his striking is very elite. This fight is going to be night and day on the floor, night and day on the feet. Yousri's angles, his ability to land damage, his ability to be defensively responsible, far and away better than Bekoev. But in MMA, you got to lean the grappler here. I think Bekoev's going to push the pace, get him against the cage, land damage against the cage, win minutes. Even if he can't get him to the floor, the cage pushing is going to be enough to win him the rounds. Give me Bekoev here by decision or knockout. We'll get close to the fight time. I'll let you know how I feel a little bit more about it, but this is going to be a value play because he is a blown out favorite. If the sub looks juicy, it's something to look at. I'm not sure Yousri's got the defensive grappling for this guy. We'll run it from there, but Bekoev is definitely the lean here.
Next fight on the card at women's strawweight, we have Piera Rodriguez going one-on-one with Ketlen Souza. Rodriguez is 10-2 overall, fighting out of Panama, but repping Venezuela, 32 years old. Souza is 15-5 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 29 years old. This is a fight where I'm high on both women, but I'm also low on both women. This is just to put a label on it. It is a bit low level. I do think this is a 50-50 fight. That's just the vibes I get from it. I like the Souza side a little more than the Rodriguez side. I just think Souza's striking is way cleaner. She's got way more technique. It might take a little for her to get into that flow state, but once she's in it, I think she could, on the feet, light up Rodriguez. I do fear a little bit, though, on the Piera side, because I do think she does offer different things on the feet with her Muay Thai background. The grappling is kind of where I think she's going to excel in this one. She does go to the grappling more often than not, and Souza's takedown defense hasn't really been tested that thoroughly. Give me Souza here for the win. I think either way, this fight is probably going to end in the decision, so I think I like Souza by decision.
Yeah, I'm on the other side here. I like Piera's process a little better. I trust her ability to convert her striking to wrestling, her wrestling to striking. Souza is going to be the better boxer in there, and I do not like Piera at dog money, so I get why people are going to play that side, and I don't hate it. I'm definitely not playing Piera at minus money here, but I like her transitions. I like her process entirely in terms of how she approaches the MMA game in her fights. She actually has decent game plans too. She's a dog. Souza is too, though. Souza has the better boxing. Souza is just a little flat-footed for me, which is why I'm leaning Piera, because she's a little more lighter on her feet. But at minus money, can't play Piera. Don't hate the Souza dog play here. Probably not going to play, probably no action in this fight, but for podcast sake, I'm going to lean Piera just because I trust her process better.
Next fight on the card at men's flyweight, we have Felipe Bunes going one-on-one with Rafael Estevam. Bunes is 14-7 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 35 years old. Estevam is perfect, 13-0, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 28 years old.
Terribly lined fight.
I actually don't disagree. I agree with why Estevam is the favorite, but I do not like how wide it is.
Minus 500 is nuts.
On paper, Estevam, I get it. He's got the clear path. He should be able to take him down. He should be able to more or less control Bunes on the ground, theoretically, but the odds are a little crazy. On top of the fact that Estevam really hasn't fought anybody that spectacular, I don't necessarily hate, at least from a betting perspective, a little shot on the Bunes side. I will be picking Estevam here. Low confidence, though. I think this fight is way closer than the odds indicate. I think Bunes is more than live. Estevam technically on paper, but hella low confidence. Bunes is definitely a dog.
Yeah, I'm with you here 100%. We talked about this fight before the podcast started. Bunes, very good off his back, very good jiu-jitsu game. Threw a far better striker in this fight. Estevam, gas bag, historically. Third round, Jesus Aguilar almost did dirty things to him that were so unholy. I mean, he's just lucky the clock ran out, low key.
Jesus Aguilar is one of those guys, too, where it's like, you know, he's good in the grappling, but he lacks the physical dimensions. And Estevam was kind of struggling to hold him down in that fight.
And this is a Bunes who's big for the weight class. This is a weight class at 125 where the degree of skill is so minute. You give me a plus 360 dog at flyweight, it's like giving me a plus 360 dog in women's bantamweight.
Also, Bunes lights out on the feet compared to Estevam. Estevam does not look good on his feet.
100%. And if you look at it, this guy, Bunes, actually was able to land decent damage on Josh Van before getting finished.
Yeah.
And look what Josh Van is now. So for me, this is an easy dog play here. I think Bunes is live as hell. Give me Bunes as the live dog, pick, play, and possible bet come fight night.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have the black belt hunter Rodolfo Vieira going one-on-one with Mr. Vicious himself, Tresean Gore. Vieira, 10-3 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 35 years old. Gore, 5-3 overall, fighting out of Georgia, 31 years old. This is a fight where I seen it on paper and I'm like, just use your fucking common sense here. Vieira should win this one. I mean, years of experience of jiu-jitsu. But Tresean Gore is a guy who I kind of underestimate a bit. The guy's raw. Don't get me wrong. But the guy's talented. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's a bit of a wild card. And this is a fight that I feel like sometimes the obvious pick may be the wrong pick.
Agreed.
And it's probably the more dangerous pick. I'll be picking Vieira. It is the dangerous pick, I think, in my opinion, because it feels too safe. I think he should win probably by submission here, but I think ITD for Gore is probably the way you want to tackle this one. Maybe some kind of live bet entry as well. But give me Vieira here. I'm a pussy. I'll admit it. I'll stay safe. Give me him for the win by sub. But, Tresean Gore, all the raw talent in the world. But the key word is he is raw. Pause.
Yeah, I'm pussy too. And I'm going to lean Vieira just for the podcast sake, but not with a high degree of confidence. And for all the reasons my brother listed here, Tresean Gore, super athletic, decent wrestling, and I think he's probably the bigger puncher here. I mean, he's been improving after every fight. I give him a ton of credit. I thought he was kind of just a glass cannon, a guy who hit hard with not a great chin. Showed his shit in his last fight, showed his grit. This is a guy in Rodolfo Vieira that I'm not sure is going to be able to hurt him on the feet. If this fight hits the mat, I think Vieira will sub him. But I have a strong feeling, or like sort of a strong feeling, a kind of a weird feeling that Tresean's going to be able to keep this fight on the feet.
I feel like he's going to have like some kind of Gohan unlocked potential when it comes to the grappling, and he's going to show that he's some kind of like fucking NCAA, AAA, some kind of crazy wrestling's going to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, he actually has decent wrestling. So my thing is, you have to convince me that Rodolfo Vieira, despite making incremental improvements with his wrestling between fights, is a better wrestler than Tresean Gore, is more athletic than Tresean Gore. I'm not convinced of that. So my brother's point, this fight does stink a little bit. So for podcast sake, this is Vieira as the lean because I'm pussy. But if you're asking me as a possible bet come fight night, follow us on all social media platforms. You never know. I might get around to betting Tresean Gore.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have Renan Nakamura going one-on-one with Nathan Fletcher. Nakamura is 9-1 overall, fighting out of Japan, hailing from Japan, 30 years old. Fletcher, 9-2 overall, fighting out of England, repping England, 27 years old. Now, this is a fight where we have a guy who specializes in the wrestling going one-on-one with a guy who kind of, you know, is a bit of a specialist himself in the grappling. Well, I guess more in the jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu being on the Fletcher side, Nakamura having the wrestling edge. Now, when you think wrestling, you don't think Japan. You usually think, you know, USA, good old America. And then when you think jiu-jitsu, you don't think London. You don't think England. You think Brazil. Know what I'm saying? I'm still going to stick with my guns here. Wrestling should be able to neutralize the jiu-jitsu if everything's even, if the guys are both equally skilled. Nakamura is the more talented guy in my opinion.
By far, in my opinion.
I think he's probably the better striker on the feet as well.
Crazy enough.
Nathan Fletcher, I do respect the jiu-jitsu, but there's nothing else that really pops out to me, in my opinion. These guys are both coming off of losses. And I do think Nakamura's loss is probably a little more acceptable than Fletcher's last loss.
And we faded Fletcher in his last loss against Colin Loughran.
Yes. I definitely was rooting for Loughran. I figured he'd make the adjustments. He did make the adjustments. It was a close fight, but, you know, money's money at the end of the day. And speaking of money, I'm putting my money on Nakamura. I think Nakamura, he should get this one done. Don't know how I'd bet it, but it's his fight to lose. Give me Nakamura for the win. I'd say probably by KO decision, a little more towards the decision side.
Yeah, I'm on the KO decision as well. And I'm on the KO decision because I don't think Nathan Fletcher's UFC caliber, to be frank with you. Not to sound terrible or shit on the kid. We seen him on the not the contender series, the
Ultimate Fighter.
Wasn't really impressed. Lost his first fight, then kind of got brought back, if I'm correct. Just not impressive, man. I'm just not there. And I think he trains with Paddy the Batty.
I think they're in the same gym, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on his game, man. And if Colin Loughran is able to control you and he's like built like a T-Rex and is very short, this guy Nakamura is a motherfucker with the wrestling. So yes. I just feel like he's going to be able to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Gafarov is a guy who can defensively wrestle and strikes better than Fletcher. So for me, to my brother's point, one's loss is worse than the other. One's clearly more talented than the other. One's UFC caliber and the other one's not. Give me Nakamura here by knockout decision.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Nick Klein, blue collar, going one-on-one with Andrey Pulyaev. Klein, 6-2 overall, fighting out of Wisconsin, 29 years old. Andrey is 9-3 overall, fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 27 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the big stinker of the card here, in my opinion. We got two jobbers in a low-level fight that I'm not really interested in. And if you plan on betting it, God help your soul. We got Nick Klein.
You absolutely suck.
And then we got Andrey Pulyaev.
You absolutely suck.
My God. This one, I guess, you know, I got to make a pick, right? It's a podcast.
Police!
Oh, man, please arrest me here. Give me Nick Klein here. For no other reason other than I think he's just the better of the two bums. But, you know, when you're betting, you never want to fade bum with bum. You never want to fade low level with another low level. A lot of high variance. I don't know what the fuck is going to go on in this fight. Just give me Nick Klein for the win. Figure it out, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on Nick Klein here as well.
Who?
I just feel like he's going to push the pace a little more. He's going to land damage more. He was able to hurt Abdul Mansour his last fight with his spinning back elbow, caught him clean. If he had a little bit better fight IQ, probably could have stopped that fight. This is a guy in Pulyaev who I'm not really sold on. This guy is 6'4", big for the weight class, kind of punches like he's underwater, fights off his back foot a lot, which is going to help Nick Klein pretty much win the octagon control in minutes. And he's slow, to be frank with you. That's why we picked CLD to get him out of there. Didn't get him out of there, which is fucking annoying. The speed advantage between Klein and Pulyaev is going to be significant as well. Pulyaev fights off his back foot, counter puncher. Not like an effective one, to be honest with you. Another guy that I don't think is really UFC caliber. Not sure Nick Klein is either, but I trust Nick Klein to be Nick Klein and do Nick Klein shit. So for me, Nick Klein, who is the play here? Well, not even the play, ladies and gentlemen. The lean for the podcast sake. But don't think I'm going to get around to betting this. We'll see. You might be surprised come close to the fight time. Follow us on our social media platforms.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Danny El Puma Silva going one-on-one with Kevin El Chino Vallejos. Silva, 10-1 overall, fighting out of Santa Ana, California, 28 years old. Vallejos is 15-1 overall, fighting out of Argentina, repping Argentina, 23 years old. I think this fight's going to be a banger. Danny Silva, I mean, you've seen him on the Contender Series and all his other previous fights. The man throws fucking volume. The guy walks forward. He doesn't stop walking forward. Now, the issue with Danny Silva, his defense is a bit dog shit. Let's keep it a buck.
Just a bit.
He blocks with his face, and that's just putting it lightly. Vallejos on the other side, another very good striker. You know these guys from Argentina? They built different. +5 durability. His only loss is to Zhang Silva, the assassin. And he took, I think he was the only guy to take Silva all 3 rounds. And that fight was a bit of a banger. And I think Vallejos' last win, I think literally called him out and was like, I want the run back.
Yeah.
I think he should be able to land on Silva and be a little more defensively better than, you know, Silva here. Just put it lightly. Give me Vallejos here for the win. I say 2nd, 3rd round stoppage. I wouldn't be too surprised at a decision either, just because Silva, again, just because he's hittable, don't mean you can really put him away. Got that zombie chin, but I got a feeling he might be able to pack him up. Give me Vallejos here. Late round stoppage.
Yeah, Vallejos got fucking hammers in his hands. And this is a fight where I think he's probably going to find a stoppage. Silva walks into a lot of punches. This is a guy who has a good pull right, puts his boxing combinations together very well. Will eat one to give one, can eat one to give one. This is a good stylistic matchup to showcase him, and it's the first fight to open up the main card. If I'm looking at UFC matchmaking, this might move up further, or if it is the one to open it up, they try to showcase Vallejos here. This might be a rough night for Danny Silva. It's going to be a fun fight as long as it lasts, but I think Vallejos eventually finds his chin, knocks him out. Give me Vallejos by knockout.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have the Haitian sensation Neil Magny going 1-on-1 with Capoeira Elizeu Zaleski. Magny, 29-13, fighting out of Dalton, Illinois, 37 years old. Zaleski is 25-9-1, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 38 years old. Now, this is a fight between 2 veterans, 2 guys who, you know, usually depending on the opponent, I'm either trying to fade them or I'm betting them as dogs.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, I have the unfortunate pleasure of trying to figure out which one of these 2 guys I got to fade and which one of these guys I got to pick. I think this one kind of screams a little bit of Neil Magny for some reason. I don't know why. I just kind of see this being a big, boring clinch fest against the cage. Neil Magny is one of these guys where he knows what he wants to do in there. Zaleski is one of these guys in there where he knows what he wants to do as well, but he also will just go with the flow. I gotta go dog or pass here because it's just 2 guys who, you know, offer different things, and stylistically is going to be kind of fun to watch, but also could be very boring to watch depending on how I think it's going to play out. I think Magny by decision is probably the way I'm leaning, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of there too on the dog or pass spot here as well. Initially, when I saw this fight on paper, I was like, okay, Zaleski. Because I trust Zaleski a little more at this point in his career. I trust his jiu-jitsu. I trust his wrestling a little more. But then I looked at his last fight against Chidi, and he got stopped. A guy with similar dimensions to Magny. I don't think Magny stops him, but I think Magny can do some dirty shit to him in the clinch. Control him with the clinch, drop elbows, drop knees, work his clinch, his wrestling, work his back takes because he can take your back. For me, this is a dog or pass spot all day. I love Zaleski. I think it's Dos Santos, his last name as well, right? So I'm going to say, yeah, I just want to be sure because Tapology is not really showing that, but
it's just one of those fights where it's like, you know, in the great words of Scott Steiner, size does matter, bitch. And I just think Magny's just going to be too big in there. It's going to be just too awkward for Dos Santos, I think, you know?
And I think there's just too much hard evidence with the last contest, right? Chidi, similar dimensions to Neil. Chidi was able to beat up Zaleski, but got exposed by Jake Matthews.
Zaleski is a guy that I picked to fade Chidi with. And Jake Matthews ended up doing the job I thought Elizeu was going to do.
Correct. And that's where I'm at, too. So for me, styles make matchups. Chidi does a lot of what Neil does. Neil does a lot what Chidi does, except that Chidi probably has a little bit more pop on his shots.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Right? So, but if you're asking me, Zaleski wasn't really winning that fight at all in the minutes either. So I got to lean Neil has the dog shot.
Next fight on the card at women's bantamweight, we have Cara Rosa going 1-on-1 with Wonder Nora Canole. Rosa, 18-7 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 30 years old. Cornole is 9-2 overall, fighting out of France, repping France, 35 years old. This is such a weird fight for me because Cara Rosa has kind of been a staple in this division. Cara Rosa is always a girl that I always look to bet at dog money, you know, because she's a bit of a gatekeeper. If you can get past her, you're pretty much ready for the next level, right? Cannoli, on the other hand here, I think she's actually pretty decent.
Improving.
She is improving. She does present some things that Cara Rosa has historically struggled with. And, you know, when I say that, I mean the wrestling. She can win this fight. There is a path for her here. But it's just kind of weird because if you would have told me who I thought was older, I would have thought it was Cara Rosa.
Yeah.
Cara Rosa is actually the younger girl here. Nora's older. Nora probably is a little competitive on the feet here, but I do trust Cara Rosa to make better decisions. I go back and forth. I'm gonna pick Nora. I think she probably does get past Cara Rosa here. It's not with the highest degree of confidence on my end because I am a fan of Rosa. She's not spectacular, but she's entertaining. She's won me money in the past. And if there's a way where if she comes out being a big dog at the end of the week, I might take a dip on her. But give me Nora here for the win. Probably by decision.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Cara Rosa is essentially, we know what she is at this point in her career. She's a girl that's flat-footed, walks forward, like to throw damaging shots. There's a girl, Nora Canola here, who is a decent kickboxer and has incrementally improved her wrestling. So for me, it's like, this is an easy dog play, to be frank with you. With Cara Rosa's historical deficiencies in her wrestling, I gotta lean Nora Canola here, man. But she's sitting at plus 160, which I just seen this line and I'm a little shocked. You looked a little shocked when I hit the dog button.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was the dog.
Yeah, which is pretty insane.
I don't like Rosa at minus money.
Hell no.
I don't like her.
If she was a dog, this fight is pure definition of dog or pass. But if you're asking me if I had to pick all fate of the universe, it's gonna be Nora Canola on my side. I'm just happening to get her at dog money at this point. So don't know if I'm gonna get there to betting it, but give me Nora Canola here to figure this out and win this fight.
Next fight on the card, at men's lightweight, we have El Gringo Esteban Ribovic going 1-on-1 with Elvis Brenner. Ribovic is 14-2 overall. Fighting out of Argentina, repping Argentina, 29 years old. Brenner, 16-5 overall. Fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 27 years old.
Banger.
Another banger of a fight, in my opinion, here. We got two guys who are definitely going to stand and bang. Ayo, pause. I'm going to be leaning the Esteban side, though, and this is why. It's going to be scary at first because Ribovic, he gets hit. Bet the overs on the knockdowns.
Yeah.
He's going to get knocked out about 17 times in this fight. But the man gets up. The man walks forward. The man throws volume. And to be honest, on the Brenner side, where, you know, he kind of came out of nowhere and really impressed. But I feel like as, you know, he's been fighting and stepping up in competition and slowly, like, you know, working his way into the UFC. I don't know. I'm less impressed with him every time out. I kind of hear that. You know, not that he's not like good, but it's like you expect improvement in every fight. And it's not that I don't see decline, but I just don't really see improvement. I kind of feel like he's it's almost one of these things where you thought he had more tools in the box or you thought he had more potential, but he kind of is what it is. He's a tough guy who throws in volume. He's got power, will make it difficult wherever you take the fight. And, you know, Ribovic is a guy who has been improving, has been showing the potential. I think this is his fight to lose. Give me Ribovic here for the win. I say late round stoppage / decision. Give me third round KO. I think that's what I'm feeling for Ribovic here. Give me Ribovic to the win.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Ribovic side in terms of his ability to land damage and essentially take damage. But I'm a little bit more optimistic on the Brenner side, especially at this line. This line is sitting at plus 225 for Brenner. And ladies and gentlemen, if we're comparing the level of competition, in my opinion, it's Brenner. Brenner has lost to Joel Alvarez, who's a fucking monster, and Orabai, who is thawed from ice. And by the way, landed damage on Orabai in that fight, was able to hurt him in certain instances. This is a guy in Ribovic who's very hittable. Takedown defense is not stellar. Brenner can push the wrestling here if he wants to. And Ribovic's only way to really get up is to go for the Kimura trap and try to stand up.
I was just going to mention, I was like, I've never seen anybody utilize the Kimura more effectively than Esteban. But like, I mean, it's almost a one-trick pony thing. You know what he's going to use to get up.
And if that's the case, like someone like Brenner who can grapple his ass off, is durable, will be there for 15 minutes if you allow him to be, if you don't put him out. I mean, my God, this is a guy that has only really been put out by Joel Alvarez Alvarez at this level. And that's a humongous 55er who's now moving to 70. So for me, this is dog or pass all day. I get the Ribovic side 100%, but I think Brenner is going to be able to get his moments in this fight and possibly steal this one, especially considering that Ribovic just lost his last contest to Nasrat. And that was a fight that I thought he should have won too, because Nasrat has no legs. Easy, it's a guy to leg kick. And he's a guy that if you can land more damage on him, you're probably going to win the fight. Now, to be fair, I thought Ribovic won the fight. I thought he got a little fleeced on the cards, but I understood the decision. I didn't think it was a complete robbery, to be frank with you. I thought you could make a strong argument for Nasrat too, but
it was fair.
Yeah, for me, this is dog or pass all day at this line. I don't think it should be plus 225 and by any stretch of the imagination. Give me Elvis Brenner here as a possible dog play come fight night.
Next fight of the card at men's lightweight, and it's currently constitutes the co-main event of the evening. We have the problem, Chris Duncan, going one-on-one with Rabisti, Mateus Rebecki. Duncan, 13-2 overall. Fighting out of Scotland, repping Scotland, 32 years old. Rebecki, 20-2 overall. Fighting out of Poland, repping Poland, 32 years old.
This fight stinks, man.
This fight is a little bit weird because on one hand, you're like, they got Mateus Rebecki on an Apex card. I never thought I'd see the day. I'm not going to lie to you. And then on the other end, they have Chris Duncan here in a co-main event. Understandable in some aspects because I think Chris Duncan is one of these guys where it's like, you know, I always kind of look for a way to fade him, but the guy continuously shows the levels, the IQ, the skill. He whips out the tool set, ayo, and like he just impresses. Like the guy, he's a smart fighter who kind of, you know, he knows where he can get caught, right? And on the chin. He's going against a guy here in Rebecki who can, the guy's a fucking fire hydrant with arms.
Yes.
He's built like a graveler. You know what I'm saying? I'm making the Pokemon references here. So I think I want to pick Rebecki here, but at the same time, I don't know, man. There's something a little weird about this one because Chris Duncan, again, is one of those guys that you can never really count out. And I feel like the guy, I don't know if he does tape or not. Feels like he does tape. Is always well prepared, always smarter than your average bear. It's tough. I think it's probably dog or pass. I don't even know who the dog is.
Duncan.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm still going to lean Rebecki here, but I'm not that confident. I'll be 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you here as well. I think Rebecki is getting a minus 200 push here because of the Urabai fight. Urabai pretty much destroyed his orbital bone in that fight. And you could see like there was damage that he accrued early that he couldn't really recover from. I think if they fought again, I think Urabai beats him.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with you. But all credit to Rebecki. Dude has decent takedown defense. Cracks, but low volume. Duncan, a little bit more high volume. Gonna have the size edge here. I think he's the better grappler.
I was going to say, I think if he can push the pace and make Rebecki work, Rebecki's gas tank ain't that hot either.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Duncan. He has locked up submissions from odd angles, man, and a couple of his wins here, and I just feel like he can find a sub here.
Especially on a guy with no neck.
Yeah.
It's going to be tricky for him, but I think Duncan is a guy that can pull it off.
Yeah, and this fight just stinks. There's something about it that stinks.
It does.
There's an aroma coming from this fight. We smell it in the podcast room.
I like that word.
Yeah.
Aroma.
It arouses me.
Whoa.
It's usually when fights stink, bro. It means bet the dog. That's what it usually means. And
you're not wrong.
And don't get me wrong, Rebecki might flatline him.
He could,
but
I got a weird feeling that might happen too. That's why I'm with you. I understand the dog play, but like I don't know, something about Rebecki too, man. Like maybe it's just a fan in me. I'll be completely honest. I'm a little biased here, so take my pick with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying?
I love Rebecki as well. This might be a live bet spot too, ladies and gentlemen. Just because if
that might be
Rebecki,
the best approach, to be honest.
You'll know how this fight's gonna look after like the first round and a half. But if you see the
pendulum swinging a certain way,
jump on it. Yeah, small bet, doesn't have to be large. It's particularly on Duncan, right? Because he's the dog here. So even if he gets hurt early, I think he's live in the second, third round because of Rebecki's gas tank. So
I mean, even if you like the Duncan side, I feel like the line is just gonna get wider, to be honest.
I'm there too. So for me, dog or pass, I'm gonna lean Rebecki for the podcast sake, but don't be surprised if I make a bet on Duncan come fight night.
Next fight on the card at men's flyweight and is currently constituted the main event of the evening. We have the Prince Amir Albazi going one-on-one with Tatsuro Taira. Albazi, 17-2 overall. Fighting out of Nevada, but repping Iraq, 31 years old. Taira, 16-1 overall. Fighting out of Japan, repping Japan, 25 years old. Banger of a fight, but a fight that I think should be Taira's to lose.
Agreed.
Just keeping it a buck. I mean, all cards on the table. If this was Albazi a couple years ago, maybe pre-surgery and, unfortunate circumstances, way better fight. Because Albazi got wrestling. Albazi can't push pace with all the unfortunate things that, he's had to go through and all the surgery. And I just don't think he's got it in him to perform at the highest level anymore. He still can beat, any Joe Schmo and anybody, in the middling, trying to get into the ranks. But Taira's a different beast. I'm also a fan of Taira. I think Taira is a little underrated. I think his striking is underrated. Really hasn't been able to really display that. Maybe he displays it here. And you guys already know about his grappling. You guys know about his wrestling. This is Taira's to lose. It should be Taira ITD. I wouldn't know where to pick around, how to pick around, but Taira's the side.
Yeah, I'm on the Taira side too. I'm not entirely convinced it's going to get finished, but he's going to win this fight, in my opinion. I think there's so many question marks on the Albazi side. He had that spine surgery, that neck surgery, I think it was. It was pretty significant, to be honest. And I'm not sure what he's going to look like coming into this fight after the Moreno fight. He did not look good in the Moreno fight. Moreno just picked him apart, and Moreno was coming off a long layoff too. That was probably as ripe as you were going to get him.
And of course, I mean, it is Moreno, though. You got to throw that in there as well.
Yeah, and with that said, I just feel like Taira is going to be able to have his way in this fight, unfortunately. If this was Albazi, to my brother's point a couple of years ago, we'd be having a different conversation. I thought he lost to Kai Kara France, too, to be fair, before any of these surgeries. And you just seen what Pantoja was able to do to him on the floor. For me, this is Taira's fight to lose. Give me Taira by decision here, but follow us on all social media platforms for our final plays and bets.
Moving right along from Vegas to Jersey, from the UFC to the PFL. PFL, they're kicking off their World Tournament Finals, and we're just going to be covering the main card here. We're going to be kicking it off with Jordan Newman going one-on-one with Islam Abdul Basset. Jordan, not human. Newman is perfect. 7-0, fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 30 years old. Abdul Basset, the Iron Man, is 16-3 overall. Fighting out of Egypt, hailing from Egypt, 31 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight that I feel is tailor-made for Jordan Newman. Islam, his last loss was to Shipman. Shipman is not a better wrestler than Newman. Shipman was able to take Islam down pretty easily, to be frank with you. And once he got him down, he looked like a turtle on his back, on his shell. Did not have a lot to offer. Shipman was able to do whatever he wanted. Smashed him, got rid of him. I expect Newman to do a lot of the same, considering he's the better wrestler here. And I think he's going to get it done via ITD here. Sucks to be Bassett on this night.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Ain't nobody from Egypt going to out-wrestle anybody from America. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it a buck. This is Newman's fight to lose.
100% Newman's fight to lose. And just seeing what Shipman was able to do, and Shipman's not like a stud wrestler. He's just very physical. I just feel like Newman's going to be able to have his way however he wants to. So give me Newman here via ITD.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Asel Ajuj, the Sultan, going one-on-one with Yves, Landu. Ajuj is 9-1 overall. Find out of Ireland, but repping France, 26 years old. Yves Landu is 21-9 overall. Find out of France, hailing from France, 38 years old.
Yeah, the obvious play here is to pick Asel. Asel's a guy who's going to push the wrestling, push the grappling against a guy who's predominantly a striker in Yves. But to be fair, Yves has kind of improved his wrestling and has actually initiated wrestling exchanges in his past couple of contests. Asel is a guy that in his PFL debut got his back taken by a virtual nobody. And this is a guy in Yves who has really worked on his scrambling ability and can push the wrestling, as I mentioned. So for me, if the line is wide enough, I think a dog play on Yves is not going to be the worst look, especially if he's sitting at like +4 to 500. Because I think he is going to be the dog in this fight. He is 38 years old. That's what gives me a little room for Paul, so I'm not too confident in it. But I'm not completely sold on Asel either. He should win this fight. He should win the minutes here. But this is a dog or pass spot, depending on how the line's shaped out. Give me Asel to win by decision here. But if Yves is a big enough dog play is on the table.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have the killer, Movid Pulyaev, going one-on-one with Jesus El Mudo Pinedo. Pulyaev is 23-0-1, so I guess technically perfect. Fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 34 years old, Pinedo, 25-6-1. fighting out of Lima, Peru, repping Peru, 29 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight where I'm going to lean Pinedo just because me and my brother both think that Movid's a fraud.
I 100% think Movid's a fraud. I think he's going to get his fucking whole shit exposed in this one.
To be frank, he's going to have the wrestling advantage, but he's the guy that historically gasses. Doesn't really even have the best entries, to be frank with you. He's just not impressive, to be frank. Doesn't have great striking. He's going to be at a 6-inch height disadvantage and a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Pinedo's the far better striker. Decent takedown defense. Fucking cracks. And
he's just a better fighter, you know? this one just screams Pinedo KO.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Could Movid make this boring and probably win a decision? Sure. I'm not depending on it. I think Pinedo's the real fucking deal. He has shown up in multiple instances and shut down a lot of these guys that can probably out wrestle him with brilliant first line defense in his wrestling. And he is one of the best Peruvian defensive wrestlers that I've seen, to be frank with you. And his striking is elite. He stays behind his box and he's going to knock this fucker out.
Now, to be fair, he might be the only Peruvian defensive wrestler that I've ever seen. But he is the best that I've ever seen as well. I agree with you.
He's very good. And he's going against a guy that, once again, me and my brother, we think he's a fraud. I think he's a fraud. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not impressed with him. You know, where's GSP at? Help me out, my boy.
I'm not impressed by your performance.
And it's a situation where I just feel like I'm going to go with my gut here. I think Pinedo knocks him the fuck out. Give me Jesus Pinedo by knockout here.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight and is currently constituted the main event for the PFL evening. We have the silverback, Thad Jean going one-on-one with Logan Storley. Jean is perfect. 10-0, fighting out of Fort Lauderdale, 27 years old. Storley is 18-3 overall, fighting out of Webster, South Dakota, 32 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight where conventional wisdom says to pick Storley because he's probably the better wrestler, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think Daji's going to knock him the fuck out.
Sometimes you just got to lean with the talent, man.
This kid is big, strong, faster, younger, and he's a finisher. I can trust him to finish his fights. Logan Storley has almost regressed, in my opinion, in terms of his ground and pound ability. The last guy he fought, we picked him via knockout. Could not stop him. And the guy was basically falling over on the first single leg.
Begging to get slept.
You could have toe tapped the fucker and he would have went down. Augusta win, he would have went down. And he couldn't get him out of there. So for me, it's like, this is a guy in Teraji who's going to be physically very difficult for Logan to control. I think Dad stuffs the takedowns. I think Dad knocks him the fuck out. Give me Dad Jean ITD here. I think he finds Logan's chin, puts him away. I'll say second round here.
And that does it for our MMA combat coverage. Moving right along to the sweet signs. Going to go fly right over to Japan with a couple of bangers. And we got a bit of a triple threat going on here. And we're going to kick it off with the first of the three for the WBA World Light Flyweight title. We have Eric Rosa going one-on-one with Hyosuke Takami. Rosa, perfect. 8-0. Fighting out of the Dominican Republic, repping the Dominican Republic, 25 years old. Takami is also perfect. The challenger, fighting out of Japan, hailing from Japan, 23 years old.
This fight's going to be a banger just because both of these boys exchange. But just to keep it short and sweet, I know Eric Rosa's name is Mini Pac-Man. Does not knock anybody out. Does not have a significant amount of power. It's a great nickname, but he's just not that guy. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Big capping. He's Catman. Takami
finishes over 80% of his fights. This guy hits fucking hard. He's going to be bigger than him. He's going to be a little better than him with the jab. Eric Rosa moves his head pretty good, but he does roll into shots a little bit. He does get hit clean a little bit more than I like. And this is a guy in Takami that you can't really make too many mistakes against. I don't agree with the line too much just because minus 600 is a little nuts, but I do expect Takami to eventually find the knockout on Rosa despite his defensive boxing prowess in spurts, because I do feel like Eric is going to get lured into a brawl here and he's going to eventually get caught and put away. Give me Takami here by knockout. I'll say mid to late rounds of this fight. I just don't trust Eric to stay consistent with his defensive movements throughout the contest, and I expect Takami to put him away.
Next fight on the card for the WBA World Bantamweight title, we have Antonio Vargas going one-on-one with Daigo Higa. Vargas is 19-1 overall, fighting out of Kissimmee, Florida, 28 years old. Higa is 21-3-2 overall, Fighting out of Japan, hailing from Japan, 29 years old.
Yeah, this is a super interesting fight, particularly how it's lined. They have Higa at a -160 and Antonio Vargas at +120. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised that Antonio Vargas is a +120. He got lamped in his loss, like lamped bad, did bad, exposed, dominated, and done bad.
Damn.
And this is a guy, I was telling my brother before the podcast, I was watching his tape. Dude, he gets dropped every fucking fight. And this is a guy in Daigo Higa who fucking dumps. So for me, it's like, this is an easy play because I've seen Daigo put on the sparring gear with Inoue and have a legitimate exhibition with him without the headgear and not go down. So for me, Daigo cracks. Daigo can take a shot. I think he's a rightful favorite. They're in Japan. I gotta lean Higa here, man, for the lean. What I also do like is a play on Antonio Vargas to be knocked down, because I guarantee he's probably gonna get dropped in this fight, because he gets dropped in every motherfucking fight. Give me Daigo Higa to win this fight. I'll say by knockout. You know what? If it goes to decision, I wouldn't be surprised. But you know what? Let's put our nuts on the table. Daigo Higa by knockout here. But I like his money line at -160 as a decent play here straight. So that's how I'll be looking at this fight.
Next fight on the card and the main event for the Japanese portion of the boxing segment, we have for the WBC World and the WBA World flyweight titles, Kenshiro Teraji going one-on-one with Ricardo Sandoval. Teraji is 25-1 overall. Fighting out of Japan, hailing from Japan, 33 years old. Sandoval is 26-2 overall. Fighting out of California, 26 years old.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is a fight that is going to be very entertaining. This is a guy who's very durable. Ricardo Sandoval walks forward. Sneaky body puncher. Would love to see him go to that body shot a little bit more. But he's a little low volume at times. He just needs a little time to get downhill. There's a guy in Teraji who gets going pretty quickly and can control the fight. Also has decent power, but was super questionable his last fight. We kind of got lucky because we played him via knockout and it was a questionable stoppage by the referee in the 12th round. And I'm telling you that because we don't lie in this podcast. But guess what? Dirty money is always fucking clean money on this podcast. And I don't give a shit.
Damn.
I don't give a shit. I took it. And guess what? We played it. Yes, it hit. Yes, it was nasty. I felt disgusting. I wanted to take a shower after. But it hit. I don't care. It was a super questionable stoppage. That guy, if you look at that podcast, was super live, and we said he was super live. I didn't have enough balls to play him. I probably should have played him. I would have had a generational bet there on the losing side because he was cruising to a decision win there, low key, until the stoppage happened.
Yeah, he was, yep.
But if you're asking me, I think Teraji's going to be able to control Sandoval. Sandoval, a little low volume, as I mentioned. Also, Teraji, I trust him better off of his back foot in this contest. A little more than I trust Ricardo Sandoval off his back foot. Ricardo looks a little lost when he's on his back foot and getting pressured. Teraji, not the best, but better than Sandoval. He's going to be better in different parts and different areas of this fight, which is why I got to lean Teraji. And I'm going to go by decision here, just because of Ricardo Sandoval, El Nino's durability.
And moving right along from Japan to Chicago, Illinois, to wrap up the boxing portion of our breakdowns, we have Oscar Duarte going one-on-one with Kenneth Sims Jr. Duarte is 29-2-1 overall. Fighting out of Mexico, repping Mexico, 29 years old. Kenneth Sims Jr., boss man, is 22-2-1. Fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, hometown boy, 31 years old.
Yeah, I'm on the dog for this fight. The boss man. And I'm going to be honest with you, we got to jump in this line a little sooner than later. He opened up as a +168, ladies and gentlemen. He's down to a +124.
Oh, damn.
40 points. There's a reason for that.
Oh, he's getting smashed.
I think this guy is much better than Duarte. Duarte has issues with volume in certain rounds. Kenneth Sims is the better boxer at range, makes good defensive decisions, knows how to manage range, knows how to flow with his offense as opposed to Duarte, who punches over his feet sometimes. Duarte can hurt him. Don't get me wrong. He has legit power, but there's a guy in Kenneth Sims Jr. who is very athletic, knows boxing, knows space, understands where to be and where not to be, and knows how to land his offense and not get hit back. Give me Kenneth Sims Jr. to figure out and dismantle Duarte. I'm going to give Duarte the benefit of the doubt here and say it's going to go to decision. But if there's a late round stoppage here by Sims because he wants to make a fucking point, I am not going to be surprised. Give me Kenneth Sims Jr. here as a dog play at dog money.
And that does it for our combat coverage. 109 in the books. My brother, please Take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
For everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Love you guys. Holla at you guys. See you next week for episode 110. Like, comment, subscribe. We see all of it coming. If you guys want to discuss the Regis Prograis versus Jojo Diaz fight, please drop it in the comments and we'll type up something for you guys. But it just got announced. We didn't do any tape. That's why we didn't discuss it on this podcast. But regardless, if there's no comments, nothing further. See you next week for episode 110. Holla at you. Love you. Peace.